Hello everyone, welcome to this video. This is a video where I'm going to talk about the storage accounts within Azure, and my goal is to try to cover as much as possible in one video. So if you're studying for say 104, 303, 304 or any other exam, you can watch this video, go through the lab as I'm doing it, and you'll have a complete understanding of what you need to do or what you need to understand for most of the certifications. Okay. So I'm already in my Azure account. Now storage comes as a service, right? So you can go and look for storage, search in this plane, it will give you the storage account. Now do not go for the classic storage account, just stick to the regular storage account and click on it. And this is going to give you a view or an experience that is very similar to any other Azure resources, right? So you have the add button, there's some manage view, and you can edit the column, browse all view for storage accounts. You can export the whole thing as a CSV. It will tell you if you have lots of storage account, you can save that. You can group by resource groups. You can filter by locations. Okay, and okay, now I'm only looking at storage account in the southeastern location. I can get rid of that filter if I like. I can add additional filter as well. Okay, just something really nice. No grouping. You can also do like group by location. If you do this view, excuse me, now it's gonna tell you under East US how many storage accounts you have, under a different region like South Central US what you have, and you can group it by SKU. You can group it by, this is like I have one that is standard LRS, I have another one that is standard read access GRS, right, RAGRS. Replication type, again locally redundant storage, read access geo redundant storage. Okay, so you can do lots of grouping to really see what's going on. Okay, and this generally tells you the name of your account type, kind, this is a storage v2, the resource group, location, and under which subscription. If you have multiple subscription, you can have the storage account that are present in multiple subscription. Okay, in this particular video what we'll do, we'll look at the storage account itself. And so if you click on it, creation of the storage account is very simple. So if you click on it, so for this particular lab, let's call it storage RG, meaning in this resource group we're just gonna play with all kinds of storage accounts. Okay, and say okay, this is a resource group where it's gonna be created, storage account name. Now let's think about what we want to do. So before doing the name, let's look at location. So location, pretty much any Azure region that you have, you can deploy your storage account anywhere you like. Maybe I have never deployed somewhere like Korea South. Okay, I have never used this, so let's try that one out. So I'm choosing this storage account name. Okay, let's look at the standard and premium performance, what this does. So if you choose the performance, okay, standard storage accounts are backed by magnetic drives and provide the lowest cost per GB. Okay, so if you want a cheaper option, you can go with the standard. They are best for applications that require bulk storage or where data is accessed infrequently. Okay, so it's maybe good for a development environment, or that there's not a whole lot of data access going on. On the other hand, premium storage accounts are backed by solid state drive. Okay, so that's a major difference. Okay, magnetic drive versus premium, which is a solid state drive or SSD. They offer consistent low latency performance. They can only be used with Azure Virtual Machine Disk and are based for input output intensive application like databases. Okay, another great thing additionally, virtual machine that use premium storage for all disks qualify for 99.9% SLA even when running outside of an availability set. So that's pretty good. If you want to make sure that you want to meet a certain SLA, you can definitely try this one out. This setting can't be changed after the storage account is created. So this is important setting because once this is created, you cannot change that. Okay, so for this deployment, let's use premium. Okay, why not? Now, if you notice, as soon as you click premium, you have this additional thing that come up, right? Okay, let's do this. Let's try this with standard, then we'll deploy another one with premium. Okay, so and then next thing that you can do, what kind of account that you want to deploy. So for 99.99% you should be using Azure Storage v2. Okay, Blob is the really old one. Blob storage is already available inside storage 1 and storage v2, and plus it has got other type of support, other type of file system support. Okay, replication wise, this it's you have a lot more options. Okay, so I have 3 now over here. Locally redundant storage, which is going to replicate your data within the data center 3 times. Geo redundant, it will, so if the data center fails, okay, then you'll be in trouble. But if you are in a geo redundant, then it will replicate your data regionally, at least in 2 different regions. Okay, at least maybe even 3, and it will create 6 different copies of your storage accounts. And if you go for the read access geo redundant, then the data that is replicated to a new region, that you will have a read only access as well. Okay, so this is the most expensive one, and LRS would be the most cost effective one. So you can also click on over here, replication. The data in your Azure storage account is always replicated to ensure durability and high availability. Choose a replication strategy that matches your durability requirements. Some setting can be changed after the storage account is created. So again, this is another very important decision that you should think about before you create your storage account. Alright, now access tier, this hot is the default one. Hot means your data is always available. Okay, and hot access is ideal for frequently accessed data, and a cool access where you have data like your backups and stuff like that, your archive that you rarely take a look at. Okay, and then you go for the cool storage. So cool would be storage cost is very low, but when you're going to access the data, your cost is going to be high, and vice versa is going to be applicable with the hot. Okay, the storage cost is higher than cool, but access cost is lower. Okay, so now since we have kind of this situation, so I'm gonna maybe use Korea South KS, then STD for standard, then SV2 for storage kind, application is LRS, so locally redundant storage. So let's do that. Okay, to identify our and hot, let's put even hot. Okay, to make sure that we know that in this Korea South standard performance, SV2 is the account kind, then locally redundant storage and hot. And let me see if I can even put some dash. I don't know if they take dash or not. No, it won't. So underscore, No, it won't. So we'll just go with this. Okay, there is some restriction how you name your storage account. The name must be unique across all existing storage account names in Azure. It must be 3 to 24 characters long and contain only lowercase letters and numbers. So remember this, this requirement. So it's not letting me copy this at all. So let me see if it really did. Sometimes it does. No, I don't think it did. That's okay. All right, so next what we will do, we'll go to the networking. Okay, networking is crucial for your storage account. And if you look at the default, okay, default is public endpoint. All networks can connect your storage account. You can connect to your storage account either publicly via public IP addresses or service endpoint, or privately using a private endpoint. Okay, so you have lots of options. Public endpoint, where you are, all networks will be able to access the storage account. Okay, so that is what you're saying. If you change this, then see this warning that you have here, it's gone. If you change it to public endpoint selected networks, then on the selected networks is going to have access. Private, even more secure. Here you are going to configure what network will have access to this particular storage account. Now for this one, we're just going to stick to the public endpoint. Networking options, we are not making any changes, and anyway this option is grayed out for us, so we cannot do anything about it, right? Now data protection, another important aspect. Soft delete, I recommend that you enable that, and at least keep your data. If you delete by mistake, you keep it for 7 days. Soft share or soft delete also, I would recommend that you enable that, and depending on your need you can change that, but 7 days is pretty good to me, so I'm going to keep that. Versioning is not available for the storage account kind. Okay, the location and everything that I chose, that we have chosen so far, this is not available. That's fine. We'll come to advanced. Under advanced you have the security. Okay, secure transfer required. If you choose that one, all the data transfer will be through a HTTPS, okay, encrypted traffic. If you come over here and disable that one, then you will have HTTP transfer available to you, and I would not recommend that. So I'll recommend that you enable secure transfer. Allow blob public access. Now this one, when you enable this one is permitted to configure container ACL to allow anonymous access to blobs within the storage account. When disabled, no anonymous access to blobs within the storage account is permitted, regardless of ACL, configuration. So it will depend on your business needs. So if you really need, login and authentication, authorization, all that kind of stuff, then you disable this and you configure everything the way you like. Right now I'm going to keep it as enable. Minimum TLS, okay, TLS 1.0, 1.1, they're older, so I recommend that you go with 1.2. 1.3 is already available, but I guess it's not supported yet. Azure file share, this one provides file share support up to a maximum of 100 terabyte. Large file share storage accounts do not have the ability to convert to geo-redundant storage offerings, and upgrade is permanent. So think about this. So I tend to keep this one disable. If you enable this one, the same warning is come here. Large file share storage accounts do not have the ability to convert to geo-redundant storage. Okay, so if you do that, you will not be able to regionally replicate your data. So I'm just going to keep it disable. And once you disable this one, you see that the warning is gone. Data lake storage, is right now this is cannot be enabled. So what they're saying, data protection and hierarchical namespace cannot be enabled simultaneously. Okay. Then go to the next one, tags. So tags you can do, say for the name lab and then AZ say 304. Okay, and lab, actually I don't need lab anymore. Okay, so that should be good. I have added my tag. Review and create. So once you are here, okay, you are able to review what you are creating at this time. Okay, so you are creating, this is your subscription, this is the new resource group, we're deploying this in South Korea, that's my storage account name. We are going to use the resource manager template for this deployment. It's going to be a storage general purpose v2. We're going to use locally redundant storage, standard performance, so we're going to use magnetic drives, and access tier is hot. Connectivity, public endpoint. Default routing tier is Microsoft network routing. We have enabled blob soft delete. Blob retainment period we said 7 days. We did the same thing with file share soft delete enabled. File share retainment period 7 days. Blob change feed is something and versioning that was not available to us in this particular deployment based on the location and the type we have selected. And for advanced security, we have enabled the secure transfer. Blob public access is also enabled. We have improved our TLS version to version 1.2. Large file share, we disabled that one. Hierarchical namecase and NFS v3, they are disabled, and we added a tag for this particular storage account, and we just called it AZ103 storage account. All right, now once you hit the create button, it's going to deploy this particular storage account for us. Okay, and let's spend a little bit of time with this particular storage account. Probably you will end up creating similar storage accounts if you are working with Azure in your environment. You may be deploying it in a different environment, but any application, any storage, anything, they will need a storage account. So we'll spend a little bit more time with it. So what we are gonna take a look into next is type of storage, what the storage account can do for you. Okay, so at this time, let's deployment is done, so let's go to the resource. Okay, so let's spend a little bit of time, okay, looking at what we have. Okay, so we are now in that overview plate, which is also, this experience is kind of similar to any other type of resource, but based on the resource you may have different things that's being displayed. Okay, so we have few things over here at the very top: open in Explorer, move, refresh, delete, and feedback. So if you click open in Explorer, it's saying you can download Azure Explorer if you do not have it yet. So this is a very useful tool. So if you do not have it, I highly recommend that you go to this particular link, okay, and you download your storage explorer, okay, and you will have access to this file. And if you look at it, you can download it for Windows, Mac, Linux, all three major operating system. It's supported, and it's extremely cool. So I highly recommend that you download it and install it. Okay, move to another resource group, move to another subscription. So this storage account that we have created, we can move to another resource group. So let's see what happens if you click on move. So it's asking move these resources to which other resource group. So you just click on, and I have 3 different resource group, right? So let's go back, and here's another resource group that I have. It says keep it, and I can click on it and I can say OK, and this is going to move this storage account to the new resource group. But let's do that in a little bit. Okay, let's not move it just yet, but you know how to move the resource group. So let's put what we are covering. So move storage account from one resource group to another. Okay, that we have covered. Alright, so from here what you see, it's giving you the storage account name, its status, its primary, available, location South Korea, subscription ID, tag, replication, it's telling you it's locally redundant, account kind, it's storage, performance tier, standard. Okay, now what you also see, you can work with the storage account using different things. You can work with Azure CLI. Okay, and here create, download and list blobs within Azure CLI, and here are some prerequisite that you can go through, and you can do and work with this storage account. You can even create the storage account using Azure CLI, create container, upload a blob, list the blobs, all of that stuff using CLI. You can also do this using PowerShell. Excuse me. And again, you have lots of commands that are available that you should go through at least some of it and make sure that you kind of understand what they're doing. You can talk to that particular storage blob using Python, okay, Node.js. Okay, so you have lots of options, and of course .NET. Okay, so that's tools and SDKs. Monitoring, very nice level of monitoring is available for the storage. So by default you have got 2 different graphs. It's showing the data for 1 hour, 6 days, 12 hours, 1 day and 7 days. So you can change that to see what is going on. Now, so data for, you can go for container, file, tables or queues. Those are the 4 main types of services that comes under a storage account. Now we have not created anything yet. Okay, so we're going to create some stuff. So let's come over here and let's start creating some things. So here you see under this view you have containers, file shares, tables and queues. Containers is what used to be called as blobs. Okay, that's where it's a cost effective solution when you want to store unstructured data. Okay, you can click on learn more, and this is going to take you to a page within our Microsoft documentation where you have lots of information about the blob storage. Okay, so what is still massively scalable and secure object storage for cloud native workloads, archives, data lakes, high performance computing and machine learning. Okay, so read about it if you want, and click on it. We do not have really any containers, and the logs it's got automatically created for storing the logs that is going on with this particular storage account. So we have not really created any, and you can click on it to see, and there is nothing going on. There is no real log event happen that's recorded even here as of right now. So what we want to do, let's create some container. Okay, so let's call it blob. I'm just gonna call it blob. Okay, that's all. public access level for this container you can say private, so no anonymous access. You can call it a blob anonymous read access for blobs only, or you can say container anonymous read access for containers and blobs. I'm just going to choose this one. This is gonna give me a warning. All containers and blobs data can be read by anonymous request. Clients can enumerate blobs within the container by anonymous request, but cannot enumerate containers within the storage account. And you have the advanced section over here. Encryption scope. So right now I don't have anything available, so I'm just gonna go with this and create my first blob container. Okay, so once you click on that, now you have a container and you see the public access level to this one is container. So let's create some more over here. So let's call this a blob private. Okay, blob private, let's keep that as private, and advanced I'm not gonna configure, so just create another one. So this one I have a blob which is a container, public access level. Okay, blob private is private. Okay, and let's create another one that is gonna be the blob read, so just call it blob read, and I'm gonna use this blob anonymous. Okay, and I'm gonna create that one. Alright, so now what I have done within this storage account under the containers, I have created 3 different blobs with 3 different public access level. Okay, so you can now go to say the first one, which is the blob. Okay, and what you see is some features: upload, change access level, and all of that stuff. So for the blob one, it's saying authentication method is the access key, switch to Azure AD account, location blob. Okay, so let's see if we can upload something from here. Do I have permission? So Azure deploy JSON, this is just a file that I'm just gonna copy and upload. Alright, so I can upload from my machine to this blob container. Now if I click on this one, okay, let's see what we have. So we are getting a URL. Okay, let's copy this URL, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna open a new private window and I'm gonna paste this. Okay, and click hit, and I see that I have direct access to this file. Okay, this file is showing up, and I can click on raw data. This is the file, so I don't need anything. So if I give you the link, you can go and you can look at that file, right? Excuse me. It's telling you what is it: last modified creation date, type, size, access tier, hot, all of that kind of stuff. You can also add metadata to this file, and acquire lease. I haven't used this feature. This is something like you can acquire lease on it. Successfully acquire lease on the following blob. While the lease is active, you must include the lease ID with any request to write to the blob or renew, change, or lease the lease. Okay, so this time if you lease this, then you have to give the lease ID to this file if you want to perform any write operation on it. Okay, so let's close this, and let's break the lease because I don't want to deal with this feature right now. Now that's done. Now access policy, I don't think you need to do too much for this particular one right now. Properties, so this is going to give you the, so look at how that URL is defined. So this is the name of the storage account that we created. then it's a type of blob. So blob.core.windows.net, and then the name of the container itself, I called it a blob. Okay, so let's put it here, and we'll see that how the others are gonna be look similar too. So go back to our container. So we looked at this one where we have public access available. So let's look at this one where we set it private. So over here again, I'm going to upload, and I'm going to upload the Azure deploy. Okay, and then I'm going to upload this file. I'm going to go to this file. Now this file is now under a different container. Okay, so copy this link and first put it over here. So first of all, if you look at this top level, so the other one blob was public, and here it's again is the name of the storage account, then blob.core.windows.net, then name of the container, and then name of that file. Okay, so that's the URI. Okay, so let's copy the whole thing. Again, what I'll do, I'm gonna open a new private window, and I'm gonna paste it over there and try to access the file. And now see what happened. It says resource not found. Why? So if we change that to blob, okay, what do you think is gonna happen? This is available to us. Okay, so this is a very, very important distinction about the public access. So if you allow the public access, anybody can go to your storage and access all the files that you have. They can enumerate stuff. But when you put them in and restrict their access, they will have this problem. Okay, now you may ask, okay, now how can I share my file with other people? So let's see how can we do that. So again over here, so we have proved that this file cannot be directly accessed just by the URI, right? So let's go back over here, and in this one, let's go to the file one more time. Okay, so in this file you see there are some things in here that we did not pay much attention last time. Okay, so one of this is create a SASS. Okay, a SASS is a shared access signature. That is a URI that grants restricted access rights to Azure storage resources. So let's see, I want to give read permission. You can select multiple. You can give read, write, delete, whatever permission you want. And let's start it yesterday, and let's go to 8.1 or 8.30. Okay, no, 8.1 is fine. And then here you can also configure allowed IP address if you like. What kind of method HTTP is? Signing key 1 is fine. So now you click on generate SASS token and URL. Okay, now what it just did, it created a SASS token for us. Okay, it's right here. Okay, so blob SASS URL, this is what I'm going to copy now. I'm going to open another private window again, and now I'm going to put the whole thing and click enter. Now see what happened. And look at that, we are still inside the blob private, but now this time I have all that extra stuff in here. Okay, and this is the key, this is the storage access key that is telling Azure, hey, you got permission to access this file now. Okay, this is the raw data. So let's come over here, and although this looks really, really long, that new link, that's actually, you know, if you try to read it, you will see that this is the time when my access started, and this is the time when it's going to end. Here I'm telling, hey, only use HTTPS. Okay, and this whole string is that string that we created as the key. Okay, so if you go back again, let's just close this one again. and this whole thing, okay, the SASS token is what it's called, all in there. Okay, so that's how you do it. Now snapshot is another thing that I didn't talk. Snapshot is something where if you can take the snapshots, and if you delete something, you can restore the file from the snapshot itself. Okay, so let's go back to overview. Let's go back to blob private, click on it, and to create a snapshot you just click on create snapshot, and that's all you need. It will create the snapshot. And what you can do now, okay, go to this file and look at the snapshots, and this is the snapshot. You can click on it and promote snapshot, so it will be restored. Okay. Excuse me. So we have looked at some stuff. Access policy is very important here. So if we don't have one, so instead of giving the policy to individual files, you can set up a policy, and the policy can determine, okay, how long, well, this is a blob storage policy looks like. So here you can have a legal hold policy, time-based retention policy. You can create those two types of access policies in here under this blob private. All right, the other one is blob read, and let's kind of do the same thing here quickly. So, and maybe use something else, maybe upload this file. Okay, template.json. Let's go over here and take the URL, open a new window, okay, click and then try to access that file. Now this file is accessible again, but this is gonna have only read access. You cannot do any write operations on it. That's how this particular storage account is designed. Okay. Anything else that I need? Everything else experience wise, they look exactly the same. You can again, okay, the other thing that I didn't mention, you can change the tier of these files anytime. Okay, so your default is hard. So if you want to change, say cool, or to even archive, you can change that. So that particular file level, you can change your tier level. So that's something, maybe you put it over here, that what we covered. Change on file level. Okay. All right, so we have spent a good bit of time, I think, with the blob storage. There are more things definitely that we can do, but let's go back over here. We have, so let's look at go back to the overview, and let's look at file share. Okay, file share is good old file share, which uses the SMB and uses port 445, where you can create a file share and then you can mount that file share to your own system. Like if you're using a Windows or Linux, you should be able to mount this particular file share to your own machine. Okay, so it's taking a little bit of time to load. Sometimes Azure takes a little time to load. Just give it a minute, just be patient and let it load. Although I'm being very impatient here at this time. Come on, Azure. Alright, I'm just gonna refresh this because I'm really impatient right now. And what I'll do the same thing one more time, see what happens. Gee, now the whole Azure thing is loading so slow. Come on. Okay, so it's coming back up. So we are still in the file share. Click on file, and I'm gonna count one. Okay, now we have it. So I'm just gonna call it file. Okay, quota, say give it 10 gigs. Okay, you can give more if you like, and just say create. Okay, so now I have a file share available to me, and this file share I can just go there, and again I can do the same operation. I can upload file from this interface here. Let's click on upload, click, and let's click on any file and hit upload, and there we go. So it's uploaded, and it should show up over here. Right there it is. Here if you click on it, it's also going to give you a URL. Let's copy this one and see if you are going to have access to the file directly. Okay, let's click on it, and there we go. No, you do not. So even with file share, you are not gonna have direct access to the file. So you have to set up your how you want to access this particular file, right? So let's get out of here. And here another thing you can do, since this is like a file share, you can add a directory, test dir. Just like in Windows you create directory just to store your stuff. You can then move this from here to the other directory if you like. Let's see, is it from edit? Some place you can go, and so here you can edit this file completely from the UI. Let's see if we go back. Okay, so file, inside the file I have to, so click properties, you can look at properties. So here I don't see any configuration to change or move it. So I was hoping that it will have something like move to this particular one. I don't see that rightly from here. I'm sure that you can do it from the Storage Explorer, which we have not explored yet. Alright, but you know that what is a file share we have just created. Okay, now let's look at the file share one more time. Okay, file share. Within the file share, what we have connect. Okay, this is an important aspect of the file share. Okay, so to mount this from Windows, you gotta get this particular command and you gotta run it. If you are using a Linux machine, you gotta run this particular command to be able to mount this. So what I'm gonna do, maybe let's try this. Okay, let's copy and let's paste this whole thing, and then let's save this as your notes and then call it mount.txt. Okay, so I have saved this one, and let's go. This is a Ubuntu machine. So what I'm gonna do, cd to desktop, and then Azure notes. Where did we save it? Desktop Azure notes, and then this. So let's go back. Cd desktop. Let's go to desktop ls. Azure notes, cd Azure notes. So let's do ls. So yeah, I have the mount.txt saved over here. So let's look at the command. So what do we need to do? We need to run this whole command. So I should have called that just sh. So maybe do a mv on mount.to. I mean, you can do it without making it a sh. and chmod a plus x and mount. Okay, so I just made that executable. Okay, then do dot slash mount dot sh and then provide my sudo password. So this one, for whatever reason in my system, you might need a sbin mount helper program. So it looks like I do not have the right program. I don't have this. OS must support the encryption functionality of SMB 3.0. Learn about Azure file storage with Linux. So you can click on this one to go and say Ubuntu, what do you need? Okay, this lab is not really for so basically not how to configure this, but you can do this. So let's just do this while we are here. Maybe it's gonna be okay. So this is the basic command where you just run sudo apt update to get all the updates for your system. And once this is done, it looks like I gotta have this utils available to me to be able to run the command and be able to attach my file system to my Ubuntu. Okay, so that's done. So let's run this particular command as well. While this is running, let's put it back over here. So attach storage to Ubuntu system and put these two commands. Put a file storage. Okay, that's what we are doing. So let's see if that solves a problem. So this is all done. So when that's done, we can run the command to mount this file one more time. It says cannot create directory. That file already exists. Okay, so let's see cd mnt kss ls. Okay, so looks like we are already mounted this file. So maybe create something here. So do a touch test dot ubuntu. Let's see. So here it says permission denied. So let's do a sudo on it and see and do a ls on it. So I have now created in this particular folder, which is a mounted version file, an empty file, but it's got a name test.ubuntu. So let's now go back to our storage over here and let's just refresh it. Okay, see what happens. If we are lucky, I got logged out for whatever reason. Let's get back in, and if we are lucky, we are not. Okay, so nothing nothing really happened. So I was expecting that file would show up in here, but it did not for whatever reason. Okay, so so we are still going to try. We're not going to leave it here. We are still going to try. Maybe our let's just look at what we have here. Let's go to our file storage. Just go from our good old file storage. Other locations, Windows network, computer. I really don't see too much, so probably we still have some problem attaching that particular file storage from our Ubuntu machine. But again, this lab is not about attaching. I was just trying it out. But let's do something else though. So I have a Windows 2019 server running. Now in this server, let's open up our PowerShell window, and let's see if we can at least at least mount in this particular virtual machine that is running inside my Ubuntu. Okay, so here what I want to do, I want to create a new script. I want to go back to where? I want to go back to my file. Okay, I'm gonna go back to my file storage. Go back to the file share file, and then connect. And I want to get Windows and copy this to my clipboard. Put it over here. Can I put it over here? No, I cannot put it over here because let's just sign in over here. So AZ, what is my username? I have AZ Labs 2021. So AZ Labs 2021 at outlook.com. The only reason I'm logging in inside the machine so that I can copy paste my stuff. Okay, that's the only reason. Okay, so AZ, am I going crazy? That's AZ Labs 2021, AZ Labs 2021. Come on. Okay, now I think I got it. All right, I was worried just for a minute. So we are again back to our Azure. I'm going to go to the storage account one more time. Now what? Let's go back to home. This is the account that we created, right? Think so. Okay, yeah, this is now coming up. So from here, what we want to do, we want to be able to go to the file share again. From within the file share, I'm gonna click on the name of the file share, click on the connect one more time. Okay, once we do that, I want to stick to Windows and copy this, and from here I want to go to my PowerShell ISE, paste it here and run it. And this one, if everything goes well, I think there is one thing that we have not configured, that is our network. Okay, so I think this will, if this fails, TCP connection fail. Okay, so this is my problem. Okay, so now we know what is going on with that, why it is not. So let's go back to our storage account and we'll do this just in a minute. Okay, so over here let's look at tables. Okay, table is, I don't have any tables. If you want, you can create a table, call a test table. Okay, and hit OK. So you have got a table that is now available to you. Okay, table is for the NoSQL, and most of the stuff that you do for the table, you should be using Azure Cosmos DB. So I don't know if you are gonna use this feature from here, but most likely I would say you are not. So but you know the experience is exactly the same. All right, let's go back to the account, and don't think that I'm not gonna mount it. I will. Just give me a second. We will look at one more thing and then we'll go back to that one. And queues is, again, queues are, if you have application that needs to process lots of data that you're getting and you asynchronously process them, you can have a queue. And again, the process is okay, pretty much the same. Okay, So you just create your queue and you use it. Again, it gives you the similar type of stuff. You can set up your access policy on your queue as well. So let's come over here and click on that Azure Explorer. So this is what, if you install your Storage Explorer in your Windows or Linux machine, it will look something like that. You will have the blobs container and your blobs. What do you have? We have created a blob private and blob read. We have created one file share. This is the file share. If you click on it, it's gonna show the content of the file share just like that. We have created one queue and we have also created one table. So this, all of that you are seeing from this UI. That's, I think, is excellent. And from over here you can also use upload, create new folder and stuff like that. You can go under the blob and you can see what is available within the blob, copy URL, copy this whole thing, and all those things, delete, manage snapshot, folder statistics, lots of things that are available. Okay, and we'll install this Storage Explorer just momentarily. Okay, so activity log, we should have some activity log by now, as you expect, right? So activity log is going to give you anything that any kind of operations that we are doing, like put the file share, update storage account, put blob container, list storage account keys, all of that. Again, you have lots of features over here. You can add lots of filters to kind of refine your activity logs. You can download it. You can configure the diagnostic settings even on this storage account. And right now, no diagnostic settings are defined, and this is important. And you can add, and you should add the diagnostic setting, and you should be collecting logs based on your requirement. Say some dag logs, okay. And I would definitely collect administrative security, service health, alert, why not, recommendation, policy. Let's get all of them. Auto scale resources, so we'll start getting all of those logs, and you can send these logs to log analytics, which we do not have right now. We can send it to a storage account, and we can use the same storage account that we have, or we can send it to a different account, and you can also stream it to Event Hub. So that much is enough. So that's how you set up your diagnostics. And let's go back over here. So we set up our diagnostic. You can go to logs, is going to take you to log analytics is really okay, and you can do lots of queries in here and use your Custo query to do your log analytics stuff. Let's come back over here. Access control, you can define who can access, and you can add role based access control within this blade. Tag, we have already looked at some. If you want to modify or delete or add more tags to your storage account, you can do that. They have a diagnose and solve problem. Here you have some quick tips. Data transfer, I haven't used it too much, but search among common Azure data transfer solution. A solution is presented depending upon the available network bandwidth. So it looks like you can select some stuff, and it's gonna tell you how to do that, right? Say you need transfer allowable network 100 GPS transfer frequency once, okay? So you can assign, what you are trying to do, and it is going to tell you how you can do it. Like what we have said, you're going to use Azure blobs. We're going to copy Azure blobs to Azure blobs. We can change that to Azure blobs to Azure file. Now you see your one option is gone. You're only left with two other options. Azure blobs to Azure data lake gen 2. Now we have the REST API back again. or local on-prem, you have lots of options available. Okay, so you can play with this, what options you have. Like now I have moved that to 50 gigs of size transfer. Now they're saying we can use easy copy, Azure Parcel, or Azure CLI for my data transfer. So this is a very cool tool that you can use to figure out what would be your optimal option and how you should be transferring your data to Azure. I don't think events is configured for this one, so let's click on no. The events are not, we have not subscribed, so you can subscribe to Logic App or Azure Function, and create events and take actions and stuff like that. So when new blob is uploaded, if you want to process something, say a video file or something like that, you're looking for checking whether it's an adult picture or something, and then add some restrictions, stuff like that. You can do all of that stuff in here. Access keys, we didn't go over too much, so let's do a couple of things here. So let's first let's get to our Windows server that is running here, and over here again, what we want to do, we want to go over here and go to the overview page, and let's see if it gives me open in Explorer. So it's gonna take me to the download page, and we're just gonna download this one and install it inside this Windows 2019 machine. Okay, so let's just do that and see what's happening. Did it start installing? Yeah, it's downloading right now. It's only 92 megs file. It's not super big, and the installation goes pretty quick. So now tell me, what do you think is gonna happen? So it's almost done. So you could just click on it, or it will probably, once it's download is completely done, it's gonna ask you that if you're ready and if you want to go ahead with installation. Okay, so so everything is going fine. So install only for me, install for all users. So I'm just going to install it for everybody. Just accept the agreement and hit install, and just install in the default place. That should be perfectly fine. And what you will see, that this Storage Explorer will give us the similar experience that we saw a little bit ago on the UI side. Okay, by the way, I have a Ubuntu machine. Inside Ubuntu, I have already installed this Storage Explorer, and I actually have a video how to do that. Its installation is super easy, and you shouldn't have any problem installing it at all. It should show up in a minute as well for us over here. Alright, so this installation is going on. It shouldn't take more than like 2 minutes to get everything done. While that's going on, where is my storage? Why did it not show up? So let's try to get to this one more time, see if I can open the Storage Explorer inside my Ubuntu. I still don't see it, so it's just I'm going to pause the video just for a second, let it, well, while it's installing, we can do one other thing. Okay, so let's go over here, go back to our our portal, and the thing that I want you guys to look at some more is the security features. Okay, so let's go back. So from here, once you go to the access key is a very important concept. Okay, so this blade gives you the storage account name. Now it gives you two different keys, key 1, okay, key 1 and key 2. Okay, the first thing, if you notice, if you click on this one, it's going to regenerate the key. If you regenerate the key, the current key will become immediately invalid and it is not recoverable. and anybody who configured these keys to access your account will lose the connection. And let's see, just say yes, and notice that your keys now has changed. Okay, you can do the same thing and regenerate the key for the key 2 as well. So the idea for having two keys, so if you want to change this key and you don't want to lose any connection, so maybe application A is using this key, you just tell them, hey, can you temporarily use this key, and that application will be using this key, and while he is using this key, you change this key to something new, and then once it's done, you ask the application to now go back and use the new key. So you never lose the connectivity to your storage account, but you can still rotate your signature key. So but this is like a very top root level key. If anyone has access to these keys, they will be able to access everything inside your storage account. Okay, so let's see what we have now. Looks like the Azure storage account inside the Ubuntu is already here, and let's see if here it's still getting installed, so it may take one more minute. So while this going on, let's go back to the portal and let's keep looking what else is there to study. So geo-replication is another important aspect where we have not selected anything, right? We have not selected for geo-replication. We only selected a locally redundant storage. Since we have done that, it's not showing up anywhere. It's only South Korea. Okay, and you can look at storage endpoint. We have not even configured really total endpoint, but this is going to tell you to blob service endpoint is hosted there. And again, if you look at it, your storage account name .blob.core.windows.net. For file, everything is same. Instead of blob, now you have file. For queue, everything is same. Instead of file, you have queue. For table, everything is same. Instead of queue, you have table. Okay, I think you get the point, right? But the geo-replication is not available for this particular account. Course is something, it's a HTTP features that enable web application running under one domain to access resources another domain. So this one is not configured. So here, if you want to configure your origin, you can do it for the blob, for the file, for queue, and for table separately. Okay, you have one configuration. We actually looked at it and we did the configuration when we deployed our storage account. Right now our secure transfer is enabled. Blob public access is enabled. We are using version 1.2. Access tier is hot, that's the default one. Replication, now can you change that? Looks like you have option. So let's try to change that to a GRS. Okay, large files here we have disabled. Identity based access is disabled. Active Directory domain service ADDS, it's not really integrated right now. But let's do this. Let's change our replication to geo redundant and let's say save. Can you do that? Can you do that? Let's see what it says. If it's successful, it will show up right in here. And once it does, we will go back. It says successful. Look at that. So that's excellent. Okay. So now if you go to the geo replication, what do you think is going to happen? Okay. Look at that. So now it says your primary location is Korea South. That's where we have deployed. Since you have enabled the geo replication, okay, Korea Central is now available for that account. So if anything happens to this primary account, you can still use your secondary location to do anything you like. Okay, and now if you click on storage endpoints again, okay, so none of that has changed. They are still the same. Account failover feature is temporarily unavailable due to a service issue that impacts access to the storage account after failover. We are working with priority to address this issue. So this one, they are having some problem in this region, and looks like Azure is working on it. But this is, look how crazy, how cool it is that you can immediately make your account so much more secure and disaster recoverable, right, just by using a button. That's just amazing. Alright, we looked at the configuration. Encryption, we are right now using the Microsoft managed keys. Okay, storage service encryption is always available. It protects your data at rest. Azure storage encrypts your data as is written to our data centers and automatically decrypts for you. So all of your data, they are encrypted. It's very transparent, so you do not have to worry about it. So by default, the data in the storage account is encrypted using Microsoft managed keys. You can choose to bring your own key. So if you can click on that, you can have the key from a URI. Okay, you can put the key URI and everything, you can set it up, or you can set up your key from a vault and select a key from a vault. I don't have any vault. Okay, so you can create a vault. Let's create a key vault as we talk. Storage RG, so KV, key VAULT Let's see if that name is available. So that's all good. I'm just creating a very simple vault, so I'm not gonna do too much. So that's gonna create the key vault for me that I can use to store my own encryption key if I like. To encrypt my storage accounts, it will not be managed by Microsoft, it will be managed by myself, although I'll be using a Microsoft service key vault to manage my keys. So let's see what happens. So okay, while this is happening, the key vault is creating. Let's go back to our Windows machine and see what's going on. And there we go, our storage account is now a Storage Explorer installation is done. So let's click finish over here to finish up the installation process. And while that's done, let's go back. So our deployment is successful. So it says deployment still in progress, so just give it one more second. Okay, so that's it says the keys are still loading. Now what you can do, you can create a new key. Okay, I'll just say storage account encrypt key. Okay, let's use RSA electrical curve. If you want, you can also use that. I'm going to stick to RSA, but I'm going to use a very strong key, 4096. If you want, you can set activation date, when you want to activate this key and when to expire. I'm not going to do anything like that. I'm just going to say this is enable, and I'm just going to say create. Okay, so what it just did, now we have a key that we are managing and not Microsoft. Okay, not Microsoft, this is your customer managed key. Okay, we are using a key vault to manage the key. That looks excellent and wonderful. Let's just save that. So if you don't trust Microsoft to manage the key, this is the way to go. So we have done that. Shared access signature. Okay, unsaved. Let's cancel this for a second. It's still working on, probably in here. Okay, so while this is going on, again, let's get back to our Windows. So what it's doing right here, this storage account explorer, when you first time you come over here, it gives you how do you want to connect to your storage account. So you can add, there are multiple ways to get and use this storage account. You can add an Azure account, so that will be like adding your username and password. Azure environment, you can choose all those different Azure environments that we have. We're just going to stick to the Azure. And add a resource by Azure Active Directory. You can use a connection stream. You can use a shared access signature URI. You can use a storage account name and a key. So let's try that one out. I have not tried this one. So display name, my storage account. Okay, so account name, what I'm gonna do is this done. It looks like this is most likely done. So what we'll do, sorry, access keys is where we need to go. So storage account name is this, so let's get the storage account name, let's put it here. Oh, it didn't copy from there. I gotta remember that I need to go it from here and go to that view. So over here, storage account access keys, so copy this and come over here, paste it, and your account key is gonna be, you can use either this key or the other key. So let's just get the key 1 and put it there. And storage domain is use HTTP is recommended, so whatever recommended, I'm just gonna click that one and hit next. Make sure you only connect resources you trust. Alright, good. So now what it's doing, it's trying to connect to my storage account, and this, you see the my storage account, it just showed up over here, so you can click on that one. Now it's showing my 4 types: blob, file, queue, and tables. Now click on this one, and unable to load all the kind of stuff. If you cannot revoke this issue on your own, you may open an issue on the Storage Explorer GitHub site. Okay, so what just happened, that I could not access this blob. Can I access the file? No, I can't. So now we are coming back to one important understanding, that these accounts, if you want to access them, you gotta have access to that network. Have we configured that yet? No, we have not. So let's go back. So we have looked at geo-replication, configuration, encryption. Now firewall and virtual networks is where a lot of magic happens. Okay, interestingly, it says allow access from all networks is available, so I would expect this to be able to access it, but I still don't have access. So let's look at couple things. Private endpoint, we have not configured any. Let's just create a private endpoint over here, see if that makes any sense. I don't think that makes any sense. Let's go back over here. Let's go back to firewalls and virtual networks one more time. Okay, and let's go with the selected network this time. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add the IP ranges to allow from the internet to your on-premises network. I'm gonna add my own IP address within this virtual box. Okay, and do a save operation on it. So what truly I'm trying to do, I'm trying to say, hey, please allow access to this particular IP to the storage account. So let's now go back over here again, and I don't know if I can refresh all and see if we get access to the blob, since we have enabled. But now it's still this account being accessed does not support HTTP. Okay, so all right, so we said HTTP is not allowed, so that's a different error, right? So how do I maybe do a detach on it? Maybe are you seeing what detach max? Yes. And what we will do, we will manage accounts, add an account again, and we're gonna use the same thing one more time. Use a storage account and the key, and display name, test account name is gonna be, again, where is my access key? Access keys. Okay, so access keys, let's get my account name one more time. I just want to be successful in this one, guys. Okay, key is this one, so let's put this one. Use HTTP not recommended, so we chose that it was wrong, and from our account, if you remember, we only enable HTTPS. So let's try that one more time. So it's giving me yes, success now. All right, so now we have blob private, blob read, everything file. We created our file storage. Inside file storage we even have our directory, right? So all of that, it may take just a minute. Directory, and we have a file, all of that here, right? That test directory, look at that. Then queues, we have one queue that we created, a table we created. So all of that, look at that, available. Now another interesting thing, in the storage explorer you will see more tables in here that you don't see from your portal. Like if I go to my portal and go to my tables, you only see the test table. You're not gonna see all these metrics. So here it's any metric data, any metric information regarding the storage account, they are actually stored under these particular tables. Okay, this is storing metrics, capacity, blob, primary, transfer, all kinds of stuff, they will be in here. All right, so now you know how to connect. Now what happens, and if I go back, okay, I use this key, right? So now I regenerate this key. So now I have a new key. Okay, now let's go back. Okay, now refresh all. Let's see what happens, right? So let's go back to the storage accounts. This is my test. Here's my blob. Look at what happened. So now I lost my connection to this account. So if you feel like your key is compromised, you can always come here and you can regenerate the key. So anybody who had access, they will immediately lose access to your storage account. So but be very careful all the time with this particular key, access key, because it gives you access to the whole account. Okay, again, you are better off to work with the shared access signature. Okay, and create the shared access signature from this blade in particular. Okay, and create a key. So let's try this. Okay, maybe create all service container objects. You can restrict what you want to do. So I'm creating a key that's gonna give access to a lot of resources. Make it 0830 is fine. HTTPS only signing key, all of that looks good. So now did we create? Yeah, so generate SASS and connection string. So we have this available now, so we can also use this to connect to our services. Okay, so I would recommend that instead of using the major key or the access key, you always go with the shared access signature. So let's come over here one last time. I have never used this to configure my, so let's come back over here, add an account. Let's see if I have an option. Add an account, use a shared access signature URI, right? This is what I'm gonna try quickly. Display name test2 and URI. Let's see if we can grab one of the URIs. Say we wanna just look at the file. Okay, I'm just gonna copy the file service SASS URL. So okay, that's actually saying URI, this is the blob endpoint. So let's see if I have a general URI available anywhere, and I do not see anything, so I'm not sure exactly what I need to do here. Let's just put here. Okay, so if I put the whole thing, the first one, it's already taking everything. So let's try, and let's try to connect and see if this one, so this one I know that I have changed this, so I have lost all the connection. Now from this, There we go. So now this connection that we just made, we have used this access key to this SASS signature to connect to our storage account, and now we have access to everything. Okay, now let's see if I have access to the files. Yes, we do. Queue. Yes, we do. Tables. Yes, we do. Okay, so now over here, what you can do over here, if you now change this policy, and it was 8, so if I change this to 7, okay, so July, say 20, not, so make it 28, and make that 27. Okay, so what I'm really doing, I'm forcing this key to expire, right? So now if I do generate SASS and connection string, what do you think is going to happen? So you have generated a new SASS and connection string, but did it make any changes to your account access? So let's go back and see what happened to my account. So as soon as we regenerated our main key, access key, we lost connection, right? So here let's refresh it and let's see what happens. So over here under Blob, oh my god, do you see what is it? Right now I still have access to this key. Okay, so I still can access all the files, although from here I already said generate SASS and connection string. So we tried to click that button, but nothing happened, although even I changed the start and expiry date from here. Okay, so that is a problem. So what you should be doing, you should be using an access policy for that. Let's see if I can find the access policy in this. Policy is not showing up. Where is my policy? Okay, that may be available only under a particular type of blob. Okay, so play with it. It may take just a couple minutes for this. Excuse me. So what you really want to do, if you really want to get rid of the shared access signature, so let's click on that one. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to see if I can, if there's a way to delete this. I don't see any particular delete. That's key 2, key 1, key 1 is really didn't change. So let's go back and I want to just refresh this one more time and see if that new policy took a little bit of time to take in effect. Okay, so Blob Containers, that's very weird. Okay, all right, so so that's where you are. And also verify 7/28. Today is what, July? Today is 29. So definitely I'm telling this access should be disabled by 7/28. Okay, so this one we probably have to spend some more time and figure out why this is not really working for us. Okay, so let's try this with key 2. Okay, with key 2 it will hopefully use a new policy. That means we shouldn't have any access to anything at all. So let's copy this one. Let's come over here. Let's do one last thing before we kind of wrap up this storage account. I think you guys have a lot of experience now what could go wrong. So let's do test 3 maybe, put the URI, and okay. So this is interesting. So now what it's telling me that if I provide a URI at the time of generation of this connection, it says this SASS token has expired. Okay, so it's not letting me connect. But the one where I have already made the connection, that one is still showing that everything is going fine, right? So that is a little bit weak. I think it shouldn't work that way. Even the one that is this one or this one where we have now expired the key, let's just do a refresh on it again, but this is still showing up, and this is what I don't like too much, because I have expired this key but I still have access to the signature. And if you look at access signature, it says I still have access till August 30th. So this did not change over here, and that is like really crazy. So just understand how and when to use these access keys, and maybe just always keep this access key when you're giving it, keep it a short period of time so you can manage it. And I know that you can use this for you can use the access policy, and that's what something I was trying to figure out, where to configure that one. It's most likely you can only use that for particular type of service, most likely. Let's go to Blob, and I'm going to go to one of the blobs. Here's the access policy. Okay, so shared stored access policy. So here what you can do, you can create a policy, my policy permission, you choose everything. Okay, so but this is for all the blobs. Okay, start say July 21 to expiry July or August 8th. Okay, so that's, so I just created the policy for my policy, right? For storage access policy, let's save this one. And what we want to do at this time, let's go back to the overview, and let's see for Azure JSON. If I go to one individual file, most likely that I will be able to use that access policy. Expiry on that, permission, download. So this is not what we want, this is not what I want, this is not what I want, read, this is not what I wanted. Okay, so let's go back one last time to the containers and shared access signature, and let's see if it's asking me for a policy anywhere. This is also not asking me for any policy. Okay, trust me that I have done that. I just can't remember where to, what did I do to configure that. Alright, this is probably something I want to let you guys to do some more investigation. I'll probably come back with a follow-up lab where I can show you. So things that I still have not shown you is the private endpoint and how you can use private endpoints to make your storage account more secure. Okay, before we end the lab, one last thing I wanted to come over here and rerun this command, okay, and see what happens. Okay, because last time when we ran it, it didn't work out for us. Oh, come on guys. Alright, so let's run it one more time, and it's again attempting TCP connect, waiting for the response, and let's see if this is going to be successful or not. So this command is, again, we are just trying to mount our file system. So this still has failed. So this still didn't work out for me even though we said that yeah, you allow this particular IP to connect to my storage account, this didn't work out. So what I think I'm gonna end up doing, create another lab, another video where I'm just gonna focus on the networking part of the storage account, and hopefully I can come back and spend a little bit more time with the storage access keys, and especially on the access policy, because I think I forgot what exactly to do over there. So with that, I think we have covered a lots of different features of storage account, and you guys should have a good understanding how things work within the storage account, how to create one and stuff like that. uh, Again, there's lots of things that you can do with this, but I think you have a good start here where you can take it forward and learn on your own. And I have covered many other things in other videos, so just keep looking, and please leave your comment. Although I messed up in few parts, hopefully the overall the video is useful to you. And any gaps that I have in this video, do some research and leave a comment, and definitely I'll improve the video in the next one. Thank you for watching.